When my husband and I were offered a voluntary layoff from work, most people played it safe. They took another job and banked the money. Not us. We decided to take advantage of this opportunity of a lifetime and fulfill our dream of traveling through Europe. In this video, I'll share how we turned this idea into a plan in less than 3 months, how we navigated our lodging and where to go, and most importantly, lessons learned along the way so that your dream trip of a lifetime can be as flawless as possible. Hi, I'm Monica Premo, founder of Mavens with Moxie and Encore Life Coaching, and I help women who are retiring fulfill the dreams of their lifetime and make a life they can't wait to live. So we had the catalyst of an 18-month severance package. We had a very short window. And this is important because we didn't have time for a lot of research and planning. We knew that if we wanted to make this trip happen, we had to act fast. And in our mind, we had always talked about having a home base in Germany and traveling from there and how convenient that would be. And as I started doing the research, I realized that that was impossible. As a US citizen, you can only spend 90 out of 180 rolling days in the European countries that have agreed to open borders, or the Schengen countries. So, the Schengen countries are like France, Germany, Spain, Italy, the Scandinavian countries, the places that are popular tourist locations for US travelers. We had to get out of that. So the UK, Ireland, Croatia, those were some of the options that we had. And that changed everything for us because we thought we could just go and travel. We just didn't know. And what we discovered was this was a serious thing. You could be kicked out of Europe for up to 5 years if you violated this. And so our plan and our intention of staying the whole place in one time and traveling from there just didn't make sense anymore. Plus, it didn't make sense financially. We would have a mortgage that we were covering. We would have lodging in Germany, plus wherever else we were traveling. So that was right away a no-go. My husband at first was really reluctant to think about traveling to so many different places. He said, maybe 4 different places and using that as a home base. And again, with the Schengen restrictions, that wasn't necessarily going to be possible for us based on where we wanted to go. And so we took the restriction away from trying to be a certain amount of time in different places and said, okay, where do we really want to go? And we kind of mapped it out, and we knew that we had to mind our ins and outs into Schengen to make sure that we were out enough days so that we could get back in to do the next things we wanted to do. So for instance, we started in Dublin for St. Paddy's Day, and we knew we wanted to go to Munich for Oktoberfest at the end of September. And in order to do that, we needed to get out of the Schengen countries for 1 week so that we could get back in for the timing that we wanted. So we wanted to make sure that we booked longer stays in the countries that were more affordable and where we could get a bigger bang for our buck. We also like to travel in Airbnbs. I like to experience the local culture. Plus, when you're traveling for a long time, it can be really pricey to go out for every meal. So we knew we wanted to stay somewhere where we could cook. Even if we just cooked or had breakfast in the Airbnb and occasional meals back there, and we would eat out while we were exploring, it still saved us from the expense of having every meal out every day for a year. That adds up. The idea started in mid-December, and by the time we left for Dublin on March 11th, we had 3 weeks of travel in Ireland planned out. We had the next 2 weeks open. We didn't know what we were going to do there. Our first month-long stay in Portugal in April, a month-long stay in Spain in May, and a month-long stay in Dubrovnik, Croatia were all booked before we left. Outside of that, plans were fluid, and we planned and adapted from there. So my point here is you don't have to have it all figured out. And I'm glad we didn't because things changed as we were on our trip. But if you can get some of those big chunks taken care of first, you can get on your way and start traveling. The reality, we ended up staying in 58 different lodgings, in 22 hotels and 36 Airbnbs, in 20 countries and 83 cities throughout our stay in Europe. And one thing I'll add, the Schengen restriction for us meant that at the tail end of our trip, we would have had to go back to the non-Schengen countries in order to complete our year stay in Europe. And we hadn't rented our house for the second 6 months that we planned to be gone. And we would have been going back to the countries that we'd already been to, back to the UK and back to Croatia, most likely. And it was winter. It was going to be February to mid-March. So we ended up calling it quits a little bit early, which happened to be a good thing because we got back right before COVID. So our lessons learned. One, the Schengen restrictions changed our trip. We thought we would be kind of free and easy to travel throughout Europe for the year, and we were just uninformed. So be sure to check out the restrictions now. Croatia is now one of the Schengen countries, so you can't go to Croatia to get out of Schengen anymore. Some of the Airbnbs we booked for the first 5 weeks or so were rooms in a person's house, and we knew it was going to be just a quick overnight. But for us, that was just kind of an uncomfortable feeling. One place in Oslo, we shared the house with another couple that was in another room. The owner was in another bedroom, and that was just kind of weird for us. So going forward, we just decided to get places that we would have the whole space together. And the last thing, this is a bonus, not necessarily about the lodging, but we traveled in a carry-on for the whole trip, carry-on in a backpack. And it paid off really when we arrived in Dublin, our first stop, when we took the wrong exit on the bus and ended up walking, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes to get to what our regular destination was supposed to be. On those cobblestone streets in Europe, it was a challenge, but having a bigger suitcase would have been a nightmare. So with all of the ins and outs and stops that we made, traveling light was the way to go. If you want some traveling tips, you can check out my video on packing in a carry-on, and I'll put that in the notes below. I would love to hear where you'd like to go in Europe or outside of Europe, and put that in the comments. I'm planning my travel for next year, and I'm always looking for good recommendations. If you are retiring or have already retired and you're unsure what to do in your Encore chapter, I invite you to join my private community, Mavens with Moxie. In this community, women just like you are supporting each other as they try to figure out what's next, and we would love to have you be part of the conversation. Go to myencorecoach.com/mavens for more information and to join our community. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel for more tips and videos just like this, and share it with a friend who might be on the brink of an amazing experience themselves. And remember, life is a journey, and whatever happens is part of the adventure. And travel brings that up like no other. So embrace the adventure and live your best life every day.